Alright, hey guys, this is Troy with Do-It-Yourself Home and Auto, DIY Home and Auto. I have another little project that I've been putting off because it's been so cold out. It's now February here in Utah, sun's out, it's now 62 degrees or something outside. My truck doesn't fit all the way in my garage, so I have to wait for warmer weather, but the unfortunate thing that I'm working on now is actually my heater. So to have it be out during the winter, it wasn't completely out. I'll explain to you what I've got going on here. But not having it fully adjustable, fully settable when it's cold, when I actually need it, is kind of annoying. But it's the blower motor, so it would also affect the air conditioner. And I've got to have that for the summer because I'm a big old pansy. So I'm dealing with a little bit of a cold, so bear with the voice. I may have a coughing fit or two, but we'll try to get through this. So here's the symptoms that I have. When I have my, let me get over where I can show you a little closer what's happening here. So when I'm off, that's fine, right? But when I turn it on to anything that should be blowing my motor, if I'm on the lowest setting, I have nothing to, the blower motor's not spinning at all. It doesn't even try. At this level, when it's really cold outside, and I'm talking degrees below 20 or so, I get a real high-pitched squeal as the fan is struggling to spin at that speed. If I turn it all the way up, it blows just fine, but then it's blowing freezing cold air on me until the heater actually warms up. This part's fine. It adjusts the temperature just fine. I've replaced the heater core on this thing a long time ago, so what I'm working on today is fixing this so that I get all 4 levels of blower motor action, as well as the blower motor itself. I'm trying to get that thing to stop squealing like a stuck pig. So I grew up on a farm, qualified to say that. I know what a stuck pig sounds like. I bought the parts for these things a long time ago. I don't know if you can see them. They're sitting over there on the edge of the workbench right there. And they've been sitting there since December. Not because I'm lazy, but mostly because it was just too cold. It was a really cold winter for us here in Utah this year. So I'm gonna get after this. I'll show you up underneath here how to get the blower motor out and what I believe is the issue with the lowest setting on the blower itself. So we'll get to that point here in a second. Alright, so the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to take out the blower motor resistor. The resistor is what only allows a certain amount of electricity to go to the fan motor itself. That's what tells it how fast it should spin. With it not having that lowest setting, I think there's something wrong with that, so we're going to take it out and have a look at it, and I'll show you how that works. I can tell that you're not going to be able to see this very well. It's all hidden. I'm underneath the passenger side of the truck. And this here is your blower motor right here. And it's held on by 3 bolts. 1, 2, and then 3. The third one's back behind. You can't see it. This cable that comes down right here, that goes to that blower motor transistor. And that is, I can't even see what I'm pointing at, but I'm pretty sure it's that thing right there. It should be oblong and kind of a funky shape. But let me get that thing out. If I'm wrong, I will correct myself when I get my eyeballs up under there. But I'm pretty sure that that's what I'm pointing at. I've already scoped this out once. So let me get it out and then I'll show you what I see. So generally, when you pull these parts out of a truck, this is a 99 Dodge Ram 1500 Sport. It's been parked outside the majority of its life, if not all of its life. I've never put it in my garage, and I've owned it for 7 or 8 years. So. But when we pull that out, it's going to have leaves and all sorts of garbage, and just garbage inside of it. So don't be shocked when you start tearing stuff apart and see what you see. That pulls air right in from up by the hood, and that's your cold air intake for your heater and your air conditioner. So it's bound to pull in some leaves and twigs and stuff, so don't be freaked out by that. Let me get this out and then we'll have a look. Alright, just as suspected, when I pulled that out, a whole bunch of garbage fell out of it. I think that this stuff here is actual insulation that's fallen from up behind somewhere. I recently replaced my entire dashboard. I wish I had videoed that, but that was a huge job. I'm not sure I would do that one again. I had a mechanic's help with that. My brother is a full-blown mechanic, and I had his help. And I don't think I would have tackled that one on my own. That was a little rough. But. So this is the part that I took out. As you can see, it's crumbling and falling apart. And I'm pretty sure that that's not supposed to do that. I think what happens is this porcelain chunk, oh, in fact, there you go right there. There's a piece disconnected. That's supposed to be soldered on right there. So that's probably my culprit. But what I was saying is this is built out of porcelain. It's supposed to be some sort of a heat sink, most likely. Take away some of that heat that's generated by resisting the electricity flowing through it. So the new one came all pretty packaged, and I bought these so long ago I couldn't even tell you where I got them. I'm pretty sure it was on Amazon somewhere, but let me show you. Yeah, see that piece is connected there, so that's going to be my problem. That's why my motor isn't blowing at the lowest speed. So let's get that put in. And I was correct, it was back up in there. Had to disconnect the connector before I could drop it all the way out. So I'll put it in, get the screws in it, and then connect the connector to it. I have no idea if you can see what I was pointing out, but the connector had to come off before I could drop it out of the hole that it goes in. So it'll be nice to have my blower motor back in full operation. So I'm going to get this piece up in, and then we'll start working on this one. Alright, got that in there. So I reached up in there with my finger and scooped out as much of the gunk as I could get out, just to give it a good clean start. Got the electrical connector back onto it, and now I'm going to start on this guy. So this one should be pretty straightforward. I just got to get 3 bolts out, so, and then that whole housing will drop out with the fan, and we'll go to that point. Alright, it's a 5/16 size. The one that's buried up back behind is kind of being a pain, so I've gone with a small socket with a little extension to see if I can get behind there and get that on there. I may have to play with different extension sizes to get the one that'll work. But while I'm here with it, I'm going to do this one here. Get it loose enough just to screw my fingers like that. And now I just have the one more behind to get out of there. Alright. I can't even see back there where it's at. I can feel it, but then there's not room for my wrench, so I gotta try something a little different here. Alright, so as with all these projects, it's way harder than it needed to be. I don't know why they would make a design where they hide a screw that far back, but anyway, finally got it out. The combination that I used to finally get it was a wobble bit extension. See how that wobbles? That was just enough, and then the one extension on the ratchet was enough to get back in there. So I've got a little bit of rust on the end of that. It's fairly hard to turn. I'm sure the bearings are seizing up on it. And just like I said, there's garbage inside of that. So now we just simply need to disconnect the one connector right up in here. It's hard to see that with the light the way it is, but disconnect a quick release connector, and then we'll have a look at it outside of the truck. So one thing I forgot to show you when I was pulling this out is on the back side of the motor, there's this little vent thing, and I believe that what that does is it sucks the electrical smell from an electric motor that spins. It sucks that smell back up out of the cab so you don't get that burning smell. So when we put that back in, we just got to make sure that that lines back up and we seat that in properly so that it functions as designed. So the motor itself had this housing. It's padded, so it's insulated. I'm sure that's just to make the motor a little bit quieter, whatnot. Let's pull out the new one and see what she looks like. Alright, so apparently the one that I got is without the fan itself. So I've got to get that off, fan on it. And then I got a non-OEM version, right? So it's just a quick connect. So now I've got to figure out what blue means and what black means and see whatever. So what I'll probably do is temporarily connect it, turn the fan on, see which way it spins, make sure it's spinning the right direction. And then once I'm satisfied that it's spinning the right direction, I'll clip these off, get them on the connectors, and then we'll have our factory connection for the actual blower itself. The motor is original with this 99 Dodge. So it lasted a long time. It's going to last a long time again. I'm not too concerned about having to take this thing out again while I own the truck, at least. Unless I end up doing a full restore on it or something, but I don't see that happening. At least it's not in the works now. So let's see what we do about getting this thing off of there. Looks like we just pinch that and pull it off. I know that you can buy these fan motors with the fans attached. Apparently I opted not to. Like I said, I ordered this thing so long ago. I don't remember what I was thinking, so let's see if we can get this off. I may have to put some lube on there with the fact we're going to do that. We're going back to our Planet Safe lubricants. This stuff's made right here in Utah, in fact, down in St. George. It's a penetrating lubricant, non-toxic, non-hazardous. This is an unpaid, whatever they call these things, an endorsement. There you go, that's the word. Thanks, I appreciate that, whoever said it. I know you were thinking it. When I'm doing just a small area like this, I like to just take the sprayer out and just drip it right where it needs to be. And with this stuff, a little bit actually goes a long ways. So I'm using like 2.5 drops is all. And I use this stuff on anything that's rusted that needs to be removed. Just spray it on there and then wait a little bit. It starts to penetrate. I debated on just using that on the fan itself. I used that on an exhaust fan in a bathroom that was having that squealing. Exactly the same thing this one's doing. And it just squeals and squeals and squeals. And I thought, you know what? Put some of that lube on there, let it penetrate down in there. And that fan hasn't made a sound since, and that's been maybe a full year, about a full year probably. Oh, this thing's being stubborn. There we go. There we go. Alright, out with the old, in with the new. So, there we go. Alright, out with the old, in with the new. So, fan, meaning that it has a D connector. And there's a little notch out of this side right here, and the rest of it is round. So the exact same thing on here, so we just make sure to line those up. And then push it down on. Oh, that's been so much better than that other one. That's called winning, people. That's what winning feels like. Now for the electrical connections. Get a utility knife and carefully trim back this plastic shroud. Back there a ways so that I I can cut off. I like to put my tools away as I go too, so I don't have so many tools out dealing with a mess on my workbench. Try to keep it clean. Alright, those are fairly beefy wires. That should match up inside these connectors pretty good. Strip these suckers down. Using a 20 or a 10 gauge stripper is the size that ended up being. Spin that a couple times again. There you go. Just expose some of the wire, twist them up so they're not frayed out, and I'm going to try connecting the black to the black and seeing if that's a winner chicken dinner. I'm going to end up having to crimp that. Got plenty of extra wire if I need to. How confident am I of it? The blue is my hot wires on the inside or on the inside, so you can't see them. Let's just go with it and see. I'm a gambling fool. Alright, so there's one. Make sure it's snug. And in this case, I'm connecting blue to red. I'm a rebel like that. Give it a good squeeze so that it's good and solid. Tug. That's my earthquake check. Earthquake checked out. Alright, now for this part, let's make sure I do have a hole in this one that should connect to that. Looks like my wires come out in a different spot. I don't know if I want to put that much pressure or tension on my wires or not. But the hole is lining up. Once I get my mounting holes lined up, I can see in there, but that's a little too much pressure on there. I might take and nibble that out. That's just plastic. So I'm going to nibble a bit of that out with tin snips or something. We'll see what it looks like. So I'm taking a little bit right there. Just clear it down below. I used to do some HVAC stuff when I was younger, so I kept my tin snips and my tin snip tools, my knowledge, I should say, and we just take a chunk out like that. I took out the insulation with it, and we try again. Some of this stuff is just scope it out as you go. See, that still puts a little bit of tension on that, but it's not quite as bad. I'm going to go just a little bit deeper with it so that there's less pressure on these wires. Anytime you pinch a wire, you can introduce resistance, and resistance means heat in electricity. So you do not want to just throw that thing back in there and have a pinched wire. That's how car fires start. And remember my rule? Don't do dumb stuff? Yeah, that would qualify. Don't burn your car to the ground. Mostly because it's annoying for the other people on the road and they're trying to get somewhere. So don't do dumb stuff. Be smart. Do a job right. If you're going to do it, let's do it right. Alright, let's see what we got here. That's beautiful. Plenty of room. Alright, easiest way to do this is going to be to put the front screws in first, because we can actually see those. I'm gonna make sure. So see this rubber thing right here? That's what I'm talking about. That's the vent that goes in that hole on the back side. It's got a beveled edge that goes in and actually secures it, so I need to make sure that I get that all the way back in. You can see I pulled the carpet out too to get that last bolt out on the back side. I needed just that much more room to get my screw driver or whatever, my wrench lined up on it. So let's see. we can, well, that just falls clear out if you grab it. I barely even touched it and it fell out, so just make sure you get that thing back up in there when you do this. Alright, we're tight. Let's grab screws. And remember that this front one right here had those wire tamer thingies connected to them. I don't know what you call them, that's what I call them, wire tamers. Oops, let's get it in the hole. There we go. Get the first one in and tight to hold it. And then the next one will help secure it in place so we can mess with that back one. So, our wire connector thing with the bobber is right there. It actually had two on it, but the one wasn't being used, so I'm going to just put one back on and keep the other one as a spare. You never know when you need something like that. It could come in really handy someday. Alright. Looking good. Let's make sure that this one's tight. Alright, now for the nightmare one. I'm going to turn the camera off because I actually have to lay where the camera's sitting to get that. An easy job turning into a pain, but I've really only been at it for maybe 25 minutes, so it's not a huge deal. You guys could figure this out. It's not rocket science. If I wasn't talking the whole time, I could get it done in 15 or 20 minutes. So. But just remember, you can do this. I believe in you. This process is probably very similar among many of the models, especially on the Dodge side, but they generally have things that look just like that up underneath dashes of Chevys and Fords and whatever. So they make these things accessible so that you can replace them when they wear out. So if yours is squealing like a stuck pig, maybe time to do something like this. Do it yourself, save some money, and get your heater working. One other thing to do at this point is to actually test it to ensure that it works. So let's have a see. Gotta turn the key on. Oh, I can already hear it spinning, and it's in the low setting. And I do have air coming out instead of sucking in, so I have it connected the right direction. So guessing apparently wins sometimes. So turn the key back off. I wanted to do that just in case before I put it all back together, in case I had to pull that apart just to fix something. So far so good. Let's get this thing all the way back together and then we'll have a chat. Alright, finally got it back on. I got my carpet kit back installed. I looped the wire up and around and connected it to that so that it's cable management. It's not going to be dangling down, catching on somebody's feet or whatever. And then this clip actually slides back down in a little bracket. I'll move that and see if you can see what happens here. So you lift up on that. Let me get the light for you to see. This is maybe important enough to show you that that connector lifts up out of that and then comes down where you can get it. So you just put it back up in that. I can't do it with looking at the camera. I need to just feel and not watch. There we go. So that just holds itself up in there. It's nice and neat and snug. So push up on that and it'll drop back down. I don't have any kinks in my wires. Everything looks fantastic. Oh my gosh, I'm sweating. So, that's how you replace a blower motor and your resistor for the blower motor so you get all of your speeds back. Fairly simple job. Obviously I'm sweating, but I sweat anyway, so it's not that big a deal. Be sure and click like. I think it's down in that corner. And then also subscribe so that you can see some of my upcoming stuff. I've got some projects around the house that I'm going to be working on this summer as well. I've also decided to start doing some testing of like home solutions and those type of things. So anything that you see that people are claiming, you know, hey, this works really good, just do this, you can make it at home, you don't have to buy anything. We're going to test some of that kind of stuff. So fun stuff coming. Just subscribe so you don't miss anything. If nothing else, it shows me support that people are watching and like my stuff. So any comments or questions, I welcome that too. Put them down there. I do watch for those, and I comment on every single one. So if you have any questions, I may not know the answer, but my brother, like I said, is a mechanic, so we'll see if we can figure these things out together. So like I said, this is a 99 Dodge Ram 1500. Just happens to be the sport model. That probably has nothing to do with this particular project, but it's a Gen 2 Dodge. They're all set up pretty much the same. Interior looks exactly the same on these, so very simple project. You can do it yourself. So do it yourself, be awesome, save yourself some money, and we'll see you in the next video.